Hey, what's up guys? I am back again with another Xiaomi phone, and this time I have the Xiaomi Redmi Note 2. Now, if you're not familiar with the Redmi, this phone, first of all, is not red. It comes in many colors actually, but this phone is actually probably the budget line that Xiaomi offers for its users. And the reason why I call it the budget line is probably the specifications are a little bit lower tier than probably some of the other lines they have, such as the Xiaomi 2 or the Xiaomi 4C. But don't let that fool you though, because of this being a budget phone doesn't mean that it's able to pack quite a punch for the value that it brings. One of the things that I want to discuss more about Xiaomi on this review is that the packaging on Xiaomi review is done phenomenally well. It's able to compact everything inside, and one of the big highlights that I want to, well, not the screen protector, but one of the big highlights I want to talk about on this packaging is that this adapter that it comes with is actually a 2-amp adapter. Now, if you're familiar with electricity and charging phones, the 2-amp adapter is able to quickly charge your phone. Compared to, for example, the iPhone, Apple is only packaging a 1-amp charger for your iPhones, which means you're basically getting about 50% less efficiency when you're charging. So that's a really great touch on such a budget line. I didn't expect it until I looked further into the details, but that's something that you can take advantage of when you purchase the Redmi. Now, the Redmi is, of course, this is the Note 2, and this is a second version. And part of being a second version, you're going to get a lot of the spec bump that you're familiar with, newer generation phones. But what that also means for you in terms of real life usage is that for this Redmi Note 2 compared to the previous version, you're getting about 3.5 times the performance boost. And that's going to be seen when you're scrolling through, when you're playing video games, when you're launching apps. It's just blazingly quick. And that's one of the things I love about this phone is that even though it's a budget line, the specifications that it packs with actually doesn't make you feel like it's a budget phone. Speaking of specifications, you're getting an octa-core 2.2 gigahertz CPU inside of here, and you're also getting 2 gigabytes of RAM, which is more than enough for any users out there right now if you just install your regular messaging apps and just play a couple video games. But another thing you want to note is that this also comes into a 16 gigabyte or 32 gigabyte variant. And for most users who just want to take videos every now and then and a couple pictures and just play a couple games, that's more than enough. But if you do need that room, you do get a micro SIM card slot here as well, which is something that we've seen missing in a lot of phones these days. Another thing that's missing in a lot of phones these days is the removable backing. So you're able to remove the back on this device, and what that allows you to do is to change up the battery, which is great, especially when you're using this device for long term, especially if you're using it for 2 years or 3 years. The battery is probably going to need to be replaced somewhere in between there, and that's going to be very convenient for you. If you never use a phone with removable backing and a removable battery, well, this is a great blessing for those of you, especially if you want to resell your phone later. But that's just a quick tip. So I like that, what they've included into the Xiaomi Redmi Note 2, and that removable backing actually doesn't make the phone that much thicker. If you want to just take a look at this phone, I played around with phones all day, and I don't feel that this phone is actually quite thick because of the curved edges and also the plastic backing on here. So in terms of the build quality, you do get a couple of the metal accents, and you do get a great glass LCD screen. Now this of course is only an IPS 1080p, but don't let that 1080p screen fool you, because this is probably one of the best 1080p screens I've ever used. And what you're getting with that glass is that you're getting the image fully on the glass display. So you don't actually feel like the image is sitting inside the screen, but actually it's popping out of the screen. So that's a great touch on this device. One thing that I do want to note for you guys is that the camera specifications here is very similar to other Xiaomi phones. You're getting a 5 megapixel selfie cam and a 13 megapixel rear camera. and you're basically getting about the same image quality compared to the Xiaomi 4C, which I've also reviewed. So in terms of the camera, I don't want to talk too much about it, but I do want to highlight one important thing for those of you guys who are considering this phone. And part of the reason why this is a budget phone, and of course, you're thinking, how are they able to include such a low price, pack all the things and get all these updates? Something is missing here, right? What's the catch? Well, I do want to talk about one thing, is that the heat on the back of this device, especially around the camera, does heat up faster than most devices. And notice I didn't say it heats up higher temperature, it just heats up faster. And what I mean by that is, when you're going to the camera app and you're taking pictures or you're just watching videos, playing video games, probably within a minute, it's going to start heating up around the back here. But, however, the temperature is not very high. So for most users, it's not going to bother you that much. And especially when you're holding the phone like this, you're actually not getting your hand here, feeling that energy. So for many users, it's not going to be a problem. But if you do live in a hot climate, if you don't have air conditioning in the places you work or stuff like that, it's going to be something that's going to bother you, I think. So for most users, it's not a big problem, but I do want to throw out that caveat. For those of you who like to leave comments about, bashing the phone and whatnot, well, I've already discussed this topic, and so buy it for you. If it works well for you, then go ahead and purchase this phone. But if that's going to be a problem for you, then you want to look somewhere else, especially something with a full metal backing, which is able to dissipate that heat a lot better than the plastic backing here. That's about it for the Xiaomi device. It's a 5.5-inch phablet. It gets my recommendation for probably the best budget and the most budget-friendly phablet phone. And getting the great Xiaomi brand here. So there's nothing more to say other than if you're on this price budget, then this is probably the best phone for you. If you want to look a little bit higher, well, I got more reviews coming up. Leave a comment in the section below and let me know what phones you'd like for me to review next, and I'll come back with more Xiaomi products and a couple others later on this week. So check us out at gearbest.com. Thanks, guys.